Hello and welcome to Merlin's Manor. Today I'm going over the games I played for the first time in the month of July and giving some of my first impressions reviews of these games. I played 15 new games in July and had 32 plays across those games. Now I covered 10 of these games in my Dice Tower East video, so I won't be going over those ones again, but you can check out the video which I'll include in the description down below, as well as at the end of this video you can just click on one of the recommended videos, take you right to that to see my impressions on those games if you haven't already seen them. Now we'll be going over one of those games as I got more plays of it and realized we played something wrong, first of all at Dice Tower, and also there were some add-ins that I was able to get a chance to play as well, which changed my view on the game. Now, as I go through my thoughts on these games, keep in mind that the rating is going to be very tentative, and because I've only had a few plays of those games, and so the ratings I'll give are super tentative and subject to change after more plays, as well as the general thoughts on those games. So keep that in mind, as this is a first impressions kind of idea here. Let's get into the games. The first one is Harvest, and Harvest is a game that I'm going to rate between 8 and 8.5. I really kind of feel like it's an 8 for multiplayer, and an 8.5, maybe even trending towards a 9 in solo. And so I'm going to give it kind of 8 to 8.5 here as an overall rating. And the reason why I really especially like it solo is they have the solo challenges, which change up the game quite a bit. They give you a character that you're going to play as, and they're going to change up some of the rules as you go. Kind of the scenario that you're going to have to try and figure out a little puzzle that's going to add something to each and every game that you play. And so I really like the solo challenges, especially for that reason, but I really enjoyed the game overall. That's why it's an 8, even for the multiplayer session there. And so what you're basically doing in this game is you are going to be building out your farm, and you're going to have to, it's a worker placement game where you're going to go one place and get some seeds that you're going to be able to go another place and be able to plant those. You're going to have buildings that you're going to be getting in. You got these areas that you have to clear off the forest first before you can be able to put down either a building or your plants and seeds and that kind of stuff. And so you're trying, it's a very tight efficiency puzzle, trying to manage to get as many crops done over the course of 4 rounds and sell those crops and to make victory points that way, as well as other things that give you victory points from the buildings and different things. So there's a lot of different things that you can focus on in this game that are going in different paths, strategies to winning the game, and I like that. The different crops are worth different amount of victory points, but they're also harder to get in. Some of the ones that are worth more. You got the blueberry bushes, which stick around from round to round, so you don't have to replant the bushes, but you just tend them instead of the other ones where you have to get the seeds and replant every time, and then you can tend to get more of them. And so I just really enjoy this game. It's got a lot that it offers, and I have the gold edition here, which adds in a bunch of kind of upgraded pieces there. And so I really enjoy the production value. Even without the upgraded pieces, it's pretty good, but with the metal coins and the wooden seeds and stuff, I really especially enjoy the collector's edition here. But Harvest, I'm giving it a solid 8 to 8.5. Next game we're going to talk about is Cascadia Rolling Rivers and Rolling Hills. These are basically very similar, and they came out as a bundle. I got them in the Kickstarter that way, as both of them coming that way. And they are, as I said, very similar. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. I really enjoy the original Cascadia game, which I give an 8 out of 10. And so this is a drop down from that. But it does offer something a little bit different at times as well. Not just the fact that it's a roll and write version of the game, but also the fact that it has 4 different maps in each of these. Now, you might think that it gives you 8 completely different maps, but really it's more like 5 different maps between the 2 of these, because the first 3 in each box are very similar in how they play. In fact, the first one is almost exactly, it just changes the order of the habitats. And then the second and third maps in these change up a little bit things as far as the bonuses go, but the gameplay overall is the same. And then finally in the fourth one, in the one box, is very much like regular Cascadia in the way that you're playing it, except for the fact that it's a roll and write. And then in this one, it's a little bit mixed up. It's got somewhat of a similar feel to it, but then it really kind of also changes the way you're going to play it. And so really kind of, if you get both of these, you've got basically 5 different maps, and then 3 extras that are going to be kind of just slight variations on what's in the other box. And so I like the fact that you have these different maps that you can play. They also offer in different things as far as extras that you can add into the game. They might not play the first time around, but after you kind of get used to it. Rolling Hills adds in these summit goals, which basically is going to give you a goal to go after. And some of them are ones that you complete immediately, and you get a reward when you do that. So that one would be have 10 pine cones, and you'll immediately get 3 animals, basically, of your choice, wild animals there. This one's an end game reward, where if you have the most pine cones, it looks like at a glance, most leftover nature tokens at the end of the game, you'll get to color in 2 of the, or fill in 2 of the habitats there. And so that adds some goals that you can chase after, as well as you got the Forces of Nature cards, which are going to give you starting resources, and then one-time ability that you can flip to do that ability on. So you got those that you can add in that comes with the rolling rivers. And so what these games are going to do is basically you are going to be taking some public dice. One person's going to take and roll 4 public dice, and they have different animals on them. You're going to roll those, and you're going to have 2 personal dice that you're going to roll as well. And then you are going to be able to claim all of one type of animal. And so, like, if there's a bunch of salmon out there, you might want to go after that. But then again, if you need, let's say, bears, and there's only 1 or 2 bears, you may go after that instead just because you need those. But you're going to gain all of the dice that show that animal. And then there's some bonus dice that are going to give you some different options as well. This bonus here will give you 1 extra animal of a different type than what you claimed. And then this one here is going to give you 2 times of one of your personal dice if you happen to use a personal die. And then on the Rolling Hills die, you've got this one lets you re-roll dice up to 2 times. And then this one will give you just 3 die faces. They can be all the same or okay, mix and match. Of course, you wouldn't use them necessarily for all the same, but if you want to mix and match a little bit, you can do that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to have this sheet, and you are going to basically mark off the previous number that's listed there, and then add in when you gain. And then when you use them, you'll mark off, and you'll just basically subtract there, and you'll keep track of your pine cones, nature tokens on the bottom there. And so you'll be filling in those in order to then be able to claim cards. And so these are going to be up in a row, and they're going to slowly kind of go away. And you see all the animals that you have to use in order to fulfill that card. And then you'll gain this down here. Sometimes you'll be writing in that number in a hex, and other times you'll be outlining different hexes, that many of that hex. You got a bonus sometimes that you'll gain there. And so you'll be claiming those in order to basically fill out on your sheet here. And you got 4 different sheets, 4 different maps in each one. And so I enjoy both of these games. I prefer personally Cascadia Rolling Rivers. I just kind of prefer the dice bonuses for that one, as well as I like both the Forces of Nature and the Summit Goals probably equally. I have played this one a lot more than I have the Rolling Hills version, so keep that in mind as well. I only got 1 play so far of the Rolling Hills. But I do enjoy both of them. They do offer a little bit different stuff if you do want to get both of them, and you can mix and match. I believe you can fully mix and match using both the Forces of Nature and the Summit Goals if you want, but you're going to choose 1 set of dice to use, whether it's the blue ones or a set of the yellow ones. I only have 1 out right now to show you there, but you use 1 set of dice. You can mix and match all of the different cards like this. You can mix and match all the different completion cards to have, whatever options will come up. And so there's a lot that you can just kind of mix in together there. And so you can get either one of these or you can get both of those. Another advantage of getting both of them is that you will have a lot more sheets to go through. There isn't a ton of sheets, but they are double-sided. But like I said, there are 4 different maps, and each one has, I don't know how many there, but quite a few that you'll go through before you've finished there. And I do also enjoy the solo challenges they have. I got to play a couple of those. They are very unique so far that I've seen, and I find them to be, even the beginning ones were a little more unique than the beginning ones of Cascadia, the regular Cascadia game there, where the first 4, I think, in Cascadia were very basic before they started giving you rules changes and stuff that went along with it. And so I've already enjoyed the first couple. They were tight games, especially the second one. Well, the first one was tight for what you had to do in order to win. The second one was tight, both score and what I had to do. And so I found pretty challenging so far, even the solo scenarios though there. So I've enjoyed it. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 after my first 5 plays, and then I played another 3 times here in August. So after my first 8 plays, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. And let's go ahead and get into another one that is Nocturne. Well, I played one time in the month of July, and I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 based off of that one play. And so Nocturne is a game that you are going to be bidding in order to be able to get these different tiles that are going to be laid out in a grid. And they all do different types of things. They're going to be kind of a set collection type thing. This is going to give you more of this set that you get. You've got this one, which is going to be, if you have the most, you're going to get more points from that one between you and the other players. This one's just basic victory points when you get those ones. These ones like to be in groups. You're going to get those points at the very top there for these ones, which is 3 or 1, I think most of them are. And then you're going to get, based on how many different artwork you have on them, different herbs or whatever they are, you're going to get more points the more of those that you have. And so either 3, 4, or 5 will get you 5, 8, or 12 points. And then these ones, the mushroom ones, are very unique in that you want to get either 1 or 3 of this one. If you get 2, you're going to get 0 points. And you have to fulfill a set before you can start on a new set. So if you had like 2 of them, you would literally just get 0 points. And this one, you get 0 points for 1 or 9 points for 2. And then you can start making new sets after you've completed a set. You've got this one here, which lets you draw 3 concoction cards and keep 1. And then you've got this one, which is a negative point, but you get to look through the next few tiles and pick 1. And so you might get something that works really well. And this one lets you copy another item. You notice a lot of these have little symbols in the top corner. Those are going to help you fulfill concoction cards, which are these things. You just need those symbols and you'll score points for them. And so you've got that. And the way the bidding works in here is very similar to the bidding in Skyrise, if you played that game. And basically what you're going to do is the starting player is going to put out a token, and you're going to have like a bunch of these different tokens, and like you're going to put one of those out, and then somebody's going to try and go higher than you on their next token on an adjacent tile to try and get that adjacent tile. And then the next player can choose to go higher on the next adjacent tile. And if you ever get into a corner, then that's going to be an automatic win. You also have a token that you can play. This token here is considered the highest bid and will automatically win as well. And then after you go ahead and win that bid, you'll get that tile. And then every tile that wasn't a winning tile, you can have a choice to put on this board that at the end of the round, you're going to go in order from highest to lowest on that board and be able to claim an extra tile that way as well if you're still on that board. For every token that's on that board, you kind of start highest, go lowest, and you might even get multiple ones if you have multiples in there. And so that's kind of an extra way to get a tile there. But you have to decide the moment, are you going to want that token back to bid again with, or are you going to be content with putting it on that board there? And then it plays over 2 rounds, and whoever has the most points at the end of those 2 rounds wins. You also have these animal cards. You're going to start out with your personal player, and you can either play the family mode or the easier mode, however you want to call that, where you just play with this side and you don't have anything extra with it. You get one little token here that you can use for your concoctions, or you can play with this side and you'll have a ability that you can use one time in the game. And so that's kind of a cool kind of thing where if you want to kind of be a simpler, maybe your first game, or you're playing with people who aren't really into complicated games, you can use it without the abilities there and play it that way, or you can have your own kind of asymmetric abilities that are added into that. So I enjoyed my first play of this. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I want to get to the table a little bit more often and get more of my thoughts along on this game. I do enjoy the bidding mechanic, and I do like the way the bidding works in this game a little bit more than Skyrise, in that you all have the same tokens starting out, and so that nobody has kind of an advantage or disadvantage there as to which numbers they have. You have exactly the same opportunity there. And it also has the same thing as in Skyrise, where if you're bidding in and you manage to win a tile, and then there's a tile that has created a situation where an adjacent tile has nowhere it can go after you put there, you do automatically get that tile as well, and so you can claim that one just like that. And so that's kind of cool as well. That's Nocturne. And then another game that I played for the first time in the month of July is Wonderland's War. Now, Wonderland's War is a bag building game, and it's got a lot of kind of head-to-head battles that are going to go on through it, but it doesn't really feel as as fighting one another. I mean, it is, but it's not one of those things where oftentimes I don't like games where it's too much focused on the winning of the battles and that kind of stuff. But this is one where you want to win the battle sometimes, and sometimes you just want to be in the battle for some other benefits that you're able to get, because you have these goal cards that you're going to try and fulfill, and in order to fulfill them, it may want you to end a battle on a certain location. And so you may want to withdraw from the battle because you've reached that location and let somebody else win, because all you were in that battle for was to fulfill your little goal card there. And so I really like this game. I enjoy bag builders in general. And so, and basically what you're doing is you're going around in this kind of a rondelle kind of situation where you can go as far forward as you want to, and then you get to grab that thing. But you have to keep in mind that if you go all the way around, you're going to be adding these madness tokens, which are not something you want to have in your bag. And so you have to kind of decide, is it worth going halfway around the thing or 3/4 of the way around the thing to get that tile you really want, or do you want to try and get something closer and then hope that you can still get to that one later? It's got a little bit of push and pull there. And then you're going to be placing out your troops in these different areas in order to be able to then go through these battles where you're going to be drawing one at a time against other players tokens from your bag, trying to go up this strength track and be the highest one on there when everybody else withdraws or gets knocked out because they pulled too much madness from their bag. And so very interesting kind of gameplay. I really like the production value in the game. Everything looks really cool. The artwork is really great. And so I really enjoyed my play of Wonderland's War. I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. I really look forward to playing this one again. And the last one I'm going to talk about is one that was in my Dice Tower East video, and that is Mlem. And this game we played incorrectly at Dice Tower East, in that we were getting rid of all the dice that were not part of the thing that was rolled, rather than allowing them to go back into what you were rolling again for the next travel phase. We thought you had to kind of get rid of anything that you use as well as anything that didn't match. But actually what you're doing is just getting rid of the ones you use, of course, other than the rocket boosters, which stay. And so you can get a lot further when you're keeping more dice like that. So that's one thing that we were playing. That's the thing that we were playing wrong that really kind of affected my original view on this game, as well as we got to play with some of the modules that you can add into the game, and that also kind of elevated my view of this game a little bit. I'm going to give it a 7.5 right now. Originally at Dice Tower I said 6.5, maybe leading down to a 6. Now I'm giving a 7.5, both because now we're playing it right, so you can get further along on the track, as well as the fact that these modules really kind of change things up and add a decent bit to the game. So in this game, basically it's a push your luck game. You are rolling dice. Well, the commander is going to roll dice, and you're going to decide which ones they're going to use out of the ones that are on the space that tells you which dice you're allowed to use for that space that you're currently on, and you move forward that many. So if you get like 2 3s, you can move up 6 spaces because it's how many pips are on all the dice. But you do have to use all of that number that you choose to use. And so if there are 3 3s, you'd have to use all 3. If there are 3 1s, you have to use all 3 1s, even though you might only want to use 1 just to keep moving. You have to use them all. And so, when any that you use are going to go away, you'll have less in your dice pool to roll. And so you're going to try and go as far as you can, because the further you go, the better the benefits are. At any time, you can choose to get out onto a planet or a moon along the way. And the moons kind of give you kind of a static victory points. As soon as you get off them, you get 1 to 4 victory points, depending on how far away that moon is. As well as you can get off on planets, which are, the first person there is going to put their token at the top, and then on down below that. And then whoever has the most tokens on that planet at the end of the game is going to get the highest amount of victory points, and then second and third place as well gets victory points. Actually, third and fourth all get that last one there. And then tiebreakers are broken by who got to that planet first, if there's a tie there. And so you got this push your luck, trying to get as far as you can, and then at the very top, if you get there, you get 7 points if you're the commander, and 5 points for everybody else if you make it all the way to the top. And then you have these different cats that you're actually going to put out at the beginning of each trip that are going to have bonuses that you are going to, hopefully if you use the one that gets double points on your planets, you'll land on a planet. If hopefully the one that has double points on a moon, you're going to get to a moon. You also have one that you use as a one time during that trip, and the commander can choose to use that if they need to. You've got one that allows you to start a little further along the track. You've got one that if you make it all the way to the end, you get double points for that. You got one that allows you to get off even if the rocket crashes, and basically how it crashes is if you don't roll the dice that you need to roll on that roll, then you crash, and usually you don't get to get off, but there you get to get off if you have that token. There's also a token that allows you to go to either the next one up or down, and that's kind of handy as well. And you also have one that just lets you take a die, or has you take a die when you leave. And so that makes it a little bit more difficult for others that stay on. So there's this push your luck element. There's also goals that you can get by having like 4 cats on different moons, or four different planets. There's one for having 3 on one planet, and one for getting 2 to the very end. So if you're the first person to accomplish that, you get that goal. And then there's modules that you can add in. I've played 2 out of the 3 modules that you get to add in. I played the one where you have these special goals that you have, and if you have 3 goals, and if you accomplish all 3, you get the full victory points. Accomplish 2 of them, you get a second level, and accomplish 1 of them, you get the first level on there. So you're trying to accomplish those. You also have a module where you're adding these tokens on the board. You have 5 of them out at any given time, and then when you land on that, it can be something where you just get victory points if you're the commander. It can be something where you get to move forward 4 spaces, or it's something where you get a die added back. And so those kind of help you to be able to get to the end a lot better, which is something I really enjoy, the fact that you have that added ability to do that, because at first it seemed, even once we started playing it with the right rules, very difficult to get to the end. That makes it a little bit easier to do that. The one module I haven't played with yet is the UFO module, and so I still have to learn how that one works and play that, but I've enjoyed our plays so far. We had 7 plays total between my 1 Dice Tower play, as well as 6 more plays that we played since we got it. That was in the month of July. I think I played a few times since then even. So I've had a handful of plays of this game, and I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Now the last one I'm going to talk about is Rolling Heights, which I got 1 play in the month of July. I'm giving a 7.5 out of 10. At first, this is one that, when I heard about it, it seemed kind of weird to me, because what you're doing is you're rolling these meeples, and however they stand decides whether they are going to work for you or not, or how well they're going to work for you on the turn. You have different colors that are going to do different things, and you're going to be buying these different tiles you're going to put in. You're going to try and complete them by rolling your meeples in such a way that you get resources that you're then able to add in the form of these Lego-like kind of things that you're going to be stacking up. And so it actually was a really neat kind of concept once I got in and played it. And so basically, you're going to be rolling the meeples, and you're going to roll until you have at least half of your workers are working, which means they're not flat on their back. And if they're standing up properly, then they are working hard. They're going to give you an extra benefit. And if they're kind of any kind of other way of standing up, they're going to give you a lesser benefit there. And so you're going to roll until you have half of them, and then you can take a risk and roll them again, the ones and you're just rolling the ones that aren't already working. And you're going to roll them, and if ever you, at that point, don't get at least 1 worker that's working out of that new roll, then you lose half of your workers that were working. And so that's kind of a risk that you have to take there. And so sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not to take that risk. The less you have left to try and roll, the less worth the risk it is, of course. And so I really enjoyed it. It really is a lot of fun rolling those meeples until you get them standing, and then risking trying to roll some more there. And then the board itself, you're got kind of this controlling, almost kind of area control, where you start in one area and you're spreading out, and others might try and spread out into your same area, so you're trying to race to get to the areas that you want. And as you put out certain tiles in certain areas, you actually get a bonus if you use the right kind of tile for that area. And then you're going to try and build up and finish each of those things based on what they want, and you score points for finishing those. And it's a really fun game. I really enjoyed it. I want to play it some more. And so that is Rolling Heights. I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10. So these are the games I played for the first time in the month of July. I've got 6 right here in front of me. Well, 4 technically in front of me, and 2 that I don't have right here. Enjoyed playing them. And I got Mlem, of course, also, that I gave a second chance, and I'm really glad I did. And so you can check out the rest of the games I played for the first time in the month of July over at Dice Tower East if you watched this video right here. And I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.